Hello. Right, today's video I am going to be doing a candle review, smelling different candles and describing that to you because apparently that's a big thing on the internet, much to my surprise. Out of all the things you can do online, candles is not what I expected. And it's interesting because it's a very good marketing case study. You know, candles, obviously, from a product perspective, absolutely obsolete and utterly pointless these days. But really popular all over the place and very expensive as well, as it turns out. If you start looking into these things, people will be spending like £130 on a candle, which is amazing. All these fancy brands like Jo Malone and Diptyque, things I'd never heard of until quite recently, when I was perusing the internet following some advice from students who have been doing some interesting projects on them. So anyway, speaking of which, I've decided to jump on board and I'm doing a student candle scent review. These are candles which are getting into that whole hipster trend, which is already on the edge of being passé, but still is a big trend in the world. And these are candles which are scented to represent student flavours. So I thought it was quite interesting. Right, without further ado, let's begin. And it makes a nice change because most candles, they tend to be scents based around, you know, like food, aren't they? Cookie dough, gingerbread, pumpkin pie, all that sort of stuff, which is clever marketing. You know, what have they noticed about society? That we're all super morbidly obese these days, and it's not enough just to sell food to people for their 7 meals a day, and then, you know, guilt them into a diet plan which they won't stick with, or sell them a Fitbit, so when they waddle down to the shop to buy more food, they can record those steps and share it via social media. You can sell them candles, so when they're not actually eating or cooking or going to the restaurant, they can still smell like food, which is pretty amazing. Although I'm not entirely sure why they don't have any British puddings flavoured candles, you know, sort of digestive biscuit. How about a nice flapjack, something like that? All these pecans and American flavours. We voted for Brexit just over a month ago. I want my sovereignty back, and that extends to candles as well. I'm sorry, Yankee Candle, but you can fuck off. Right, this is my first candle, a nice blue candle, quite a simple one, and this flavour is laundry pile. A familiar smell for most students. You probably want to put that in a corner of your student room and not necessarily light it, just leave it there for the entirety, you know, of a term, 10, 12 weeks, whatever it is, and it just slowly builds and it has a nice musty flavour which fills the room. Buy this candle for your mum, give it to her at the end of term, and she'll be really, really happy. Very grateful. It will give her a reason to live again. Okay, the next candle. It's got this little one here. I have been burning it quite extensively. And this is interesting. This is Student Regret, okay? And this smells quite rich. It's quite flavoursome. I'm getting hints of semen there in the background. That's sort of a slightly sweet smell of semen. I've got used condom in there, a bit of a latex tone, and that's good because with a more expensive Student Regret candle, you will get that used condom flavour. If you don't get the used condom flavour, the cheap candle, then you know those notes that you're going to get, the overtones in terms of shame and regret and having to go to the STD clinic and spend at least 2 hours staring awkwardly at the floor are going to be a lot stronger. You know, if you like that sort of thing, that's fine, but I prefer the more expensive candle, which doesn't have regret in that sort of sense. Now, this is giving me flavours also of dry mouth, you know, that sort of alcoholic backwash taste you get the next day from cheap alcohol. I'm thinking maybe Lambrini or cider, something like that. Bargain booze, a sort of 2-for-1 deal. And it's interesting I've managed to get all those notes in there. You're going to want to burn this candle probably after going through a breakup, or maybe humiliating yourself in front of, you know, people you don't know very well yet and you thought were going to be friends for life, but possibly it's turning out as the term progresses you mutually don't have anything in common with, or maybe just set it up before a big exam. Right, this next one, big candle, fancy, and what candles it turns out, it's quite interesting. Anyway, this big candle here, nice design. Is that a slug in there? You know, whatever, my house is quite messy. This is a nice big candle, and this flavour, it's by Illume apparently. I think I got it at TK Maxx. This is Reefer, okay? And it's always a classic with students, always a very popular flavour. It's been around since at least the 60s. Perennial, I think it's very boring. I think it's quite passé. I think, you know, this is a smell which you don't need to experiment with. We all know what it smells like. And yet people still feel peer pressured into buying this candle year after year after year. I would suggest you don't bother, you know, I just don't see what the point is. But no doubt I'll be called into health services at some point and dealing with someone who's slightly overdone it with that candle. Right, a nice pillar candle now. I believe that is the name. And this one really takes me back to my student days. This is the flavour of Student Kitchen, and I was telling you that cookery candles are popular. Those food flavours, of course they are. Now this one, it's a very popular one. You can't escape this one because even if you close your door, even if you leave your window open, and that's assuming that you're not on the bottom floor, because obviously rapists and robbers will be climbing in through that window while they put those lovely attractive grills and bars over them, you'll always not be able to escape this candle. It will seep into everything. It will get into your clothes. Your bed is going to smell of this, layered on top of those other mattress smells that have been around since they were originally ordered in the early noughties that you're currently sleeping on. And it will get into your clothes, into your hair, and you get really good value for money with this candle. It's got an excellent throw, which is what the terminology is, I've come to understand, for the smell of a candle. And the flavour of this one, basically, it's Domino's pizza, so you're getting soggy cardboard, disappointing carbohydrate, and sort of metallic plasticky cheese with that. You're also getting a lot of burnt toast. There's a very strong burnt toast flavour here, and I believe they put in a lot of carbon into the mix here, and that's quite an attractive smell actually. I quite like that. Although if you leave it on for too long, it will set off the fire alarm, which is hypersensitive. In fact, that's true with all of these candles. In fact, whether you like them or not, that fire alarm will probably be going off, usually multiple times throughout the night, typically on a Sunday when you really want to sleep, and the fire service can't be asked even turning up, so they don't turn it off until it's been going for a good 25 to 35 minutes, and you are suffering from tinnitus by that point. Right, the last flavour of this candle is... it's an interesting one. It's that sort of acrid, acidic smell that you get. It really hits you at the back of your throat, really gets there, lodged in your nostrils, and you can still smell it throughout the rest of the day, even when you're out of the house. And it's the smell, I guess, when you open the microwave, and you've not looked in there for quite a long time, probably, for the last 12 months or so, and you have to get something out of the microwave. You've knocked that stupid little glass dish off its little twirly thing, and you have to lift your lasagna out. And you realise as you're in there that it's quite moist, it's quite wet, your hand touches something a bit congealed, and then you look in and the roof, the little ceiling of the microwave is covered in like brown drips, sort of globules, they're all coming down, and that has been burnt on to the top of that microwave for God knows how long, and you've been cooking everything in that microwave for God knows how long, and it's disgusting, and it kind of freaks you out, and you have to hope that someone else will clean it at some point. Well, that's the smell that you get with this. That is the smell. Classic, typical Student Kitchen. Very, very interesting. So we've done regret. You can also get anxiety. We've done laundry. We've done reefer. I have got a few more here. I won't necessarily go through all of them, but I just want to show you this nice little one. It's quite pretty. This is a very classic candle, very traditional looking, and this is library. Okay, lovely smell there of knowledge, of books. Slightly musty flavour. That sort of book page flavour. It's very nice. I like it. I find it quite comforting. I find that, when you go to the all-night library at 3, 4 a.m. and there's no one else around, and you can actually book a laptop at that time of day, and you can get some printing done. It's really nice, really peaceful. So burn this, usually probably all night before you hand in an essay, and it'll help to soothe things, and maybe, dribble a few references out onto your page, that sort of thing. Not that anyone bothers with those anymore, because they just give you a link to a fucking YouTube video. If you do this one though, subscribe and like it, I might well give you partial credit. Right, that's my student candles for the time being. Tell me what flavour student candles you would like to see or not like to see. What do you like to flavour your student room with? How do you like to, lighten the mood and make it welcoming and inviting for when your friends come round, or just those people that you begrudgingly have to share a corridor and a bathroom with, Hey, maybe a candle will be a good icebreaker. I don't know. I remember in the olden days when we just used tea lights for when we had electricity shortages and little birthday candles. This is quite exciting for me. I always liked candles as a kid. And the lighting is very forgiving. Very forgiving. I should have lit in this by candlelight now I think about it. Yeah, I'm 30 now. I can't get away with stuff. I don't know how you apply Instagram filters and all that crap onto here. So I've just strategically tried to sit in front of a window that's got the evening light filtering in. And so, one half of my face is in shadows, you can't tell. The other half of my face is in the sun. Clever. Who needs Instagram? You can improvise. Right. Thank you for listening. Bye.